It is time to learn how to counter Mauga. Now, from my previous video where I talked about Mauga, I also asked for feedback from you guys on what you thought on how Mauga played, how he feels, etc., etc. My opinions were mostly coming from a place of a coordinated environment because we were playing in scrims and all that type of stuff. For you guys, you were like, well, I'm playing in casual play and the experience is a lot different. I was told that Mauga either felt too oppressive or he just felt like a headless chicken that didn't really serve a purpose within that match. So I decided that, in the free time that I had in between my exams where I was AFK from YouTube for a while, I learned that, okay, there is some merit to what people are talking about. And I put together this video on how to counter Mauga as well as explain the gameplay philosophy when you play him, when you play against him, where his strengths come in, and where his weaknesses come in. So with that being said, first of all, I'm going to show you the list of heroes that counter Mauga from each role. Starting us off is the tank role itself. Now, before I tell you who the counter is, I was wrong about one particular character, and that was Orisa. I misjudged the way her kit was interacting with Mauga. In fact, Mauga does a pretty good job at shredding Orisa completely because Orisa's Fortify just doesn't negate the crits from Mauga's negative status effect that he puts with the fire that he can put on her, which is a little bit strange. I don't know if that's a bug or not, or if that's intended. You guys can let me know down below. So at least for now, on this current patch, as of this date, 12/12/2023, Mauga is pretty darn good at getting through Orisa without a single problem. Now, who is good against Mauga? Sigma has a decent matchup if you can keep Mauga at range, rock him if he gets a little bit too close, and then manage your distance. Use your suck if he's like mowing you down or whatever. Sigma's not that bad, but the true counter, at least in comparison to everybody else, is actually Roadhog. Roadhog has a pretty decent matchup against Mauga, but one of the things is you have to respect Overdrive. A lot of the problems that I'm seeing with a lot of people that they haven't necessarily figured out is they're choosing to engage and hard commit to fighting Mauga when his Overdrive comes online, like his not Overdrive, oh my goodness, excuse me, his cardiac arrest, cardiac overdrive, whatever it's called, where he does the big glowing healing field, and he can lifesteal. So the key to getting rid of Mauga is to wait that out, just kind of survive the engagement. And Roadhog is pretty good at surviving that engagement if you know what you're doing. And once that overdrive thing goes down, you are more than capable of just hooking Mauga into your pick pen, slowing him down, and just cooking him. Now, from that point on, it's really important that you do your best to try and land some headshots and hopefully pull him into a situation where more than just you and another teammate do have line of sight on him so you can melt them together. And from that point on, Mauga just completely falls apart. Trust me, I've done this a handful of times. So keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind that going into the tank matchup, Roadhog doesn't necessarily have a bad matchup. The second his cardiac overdrive or cardiac arrest or whatever it's called, it goes down, Mauga becomes a little bit more vulnerable to Roadhog, and I will show that a little bit later. Moving on to the next role, we got Damage, DPS. And I think everybody can take a wild guess on who the #1 pick is in dealing with Mauga. It is your favorite easy-to-play hero, Bastion. Press Shift, look in his general direction, hold left click, he is gone. And hopefully they don't have enough high healing in the game to get him through it, and his overdrive is down. Remember, a lot of these cases, the duel or the matchup against Bastion versus Mauga, Roadhog versus Mauga, and all these other characters, for most instances, you really have to shred through him the second overdrive goes down. And until that point, you're doing your best to kind of stay alive and keep him at bay, right? Or at least try to force that cooldown out. And a lot of Mauga players are bad at keeping that cooldown. They just kind of instantly use it because they get scared that they're going to die right away. So Bastion, really good pick. And Torbjorn, also not that bad of a pick against him. I was considering Reaper, but I'm not going to lie, Mauga doesn't really struggle that much against Reaper either, simply because his lifesteal in a 1v1 matchup against Reaper is just superior. So it becomes a little bit more risky for the Reaper to commit to that unless he has a Mercy Pocket or another DPS with him or all three together. But a very, very strong pick into Mauga, and I'm sure everybody knows this too, is Sombra. Sombra's hack ability allows you a bigger window to punish Mauga if he's not able to use overdrive or anything like that, and you are building EMP on cooldown. So Sombra, very popular pick against Mauga as well. Don't think I need to necessarily show any footages of the damage dealing characters and how to deal with Mauga. It's pretty much just, get a good angle on him, either shred him, hack him, EMP him, 3-second lockout time. He's pretty damn exposed when Sombra's in the lobby. It can be very frustrating as the Mauga player to deal with that 24/7. moving on to our favorite overpowered role in the game, it is support, and they have the most power in making or breaking Mauga. Ana, Kiriko, and Zenyatta. These characters are so crucial for Mauga to have, right? To the point that I feel like if you play Mauga without these characters, especially Ana Kiriko, it can feel like a nightmare to play Mauga just because he needs extremely high healing to stay alive. Ana's nade being used to keep him up and boost overall heals from her and another support is really important. Kiriko removing the status effect with Suzu, and that's just in the sense of keeping Mauga alive. That's kind of what you want to use Ana and Kiriko for, in terms of keeping him alive, keeping him sustained within a fight, and let him go on and do his thing. Now, similarly, Ana and Zenyatta are really good at also shutting down the Mauga. Discord Orb him, and well, Discord Orb is Discord Orb. It's 2023. I don't think I need to explain why that's OP. And then Ana, when she can sleep him, anti him, he's pretty damn vulnerable in that moment where he cannot benefit from his overdrive. Most Mauga players will panic use it, and then you can burst him down. So these are the best counters against Mauga. And now I'm going to walk you through some team fights of how to counter Mauga from my perspective of playing against him as a Roadhog and having a composition built around pretty much all his counters. And then also playing Mauga and showing you some philosophies of mine of how he can just get countered by his team, just choosing not to play with him. Okay, so here we are, 25 seconds left to unlock the control point. We are exiting on pretty much the counter Mauga comp. You got the Sombra, the Ana, the Zenyatta, the Bastion, the Roadhog. Now, right away over here, I spot the Mauga and I toss up my pick pen. My priority is not to go for a hook on Mauga first, because I know if I do that, he's just going to trigger overdrive and immediately kill me, and no amount of healing in the world is going to get me through it. Maybe if I had Kiriko over there for more heals and not the Zen, it would have been better, but I have to kind of stay alive and play around corners a little bit more smart. It may lead into exposing my team, but it is what it is. So over here, after I set up, I actually aimed for their backline, hoping to catch somebody, and I did. I caught the Moira, and I was really excited about this because he just lost a massive amount of healing, right? So now his overdrive comes up, I get hacked a little bit over here. I get a bit greedy, but I'm playing around my corners really well. And from this point on, pick pen goes up, triggered. Come in here, Mauga, you are gone. He's good, man, he's got everything on. Look at that assist bar up there. Like, we got Bastion melting him, the Zenyatta damage, the Ana nade on him. Like, it's very interesting because it feels like the community knows what to do against a Mauga more often than not. It's like, I feel like everybody, like, collectively hates this character to the point where it's like, oh, if they see this guy, they're just going to get rid of him. By the way, I was backfilling this game and I just kind of popped in and I, decided that, what, I'm going to just, I feel like playing some Roadhog, and coincidentally ran into Mauga. So perfect time for the footage. Again, same thing here. Bring him into the pick pen and I just work on damaging him. Now, I don't overcommit because I know for a fact that he's got the overdrive, so I waited out until the next fight, and now I'm like, okay, we got the sleep, we got the damage coming in, I gotta secure the kill, and we did just barely escape with my life. So definitely, we are putting in some work with Roadhog against this Mauga, and this is where, like, if the supports for the enemy Mauga are not running the Ana Kiriko, the high healing with maybe Ana Bap as well, or something like that, or in this case, they could even try Ana Moira, right? As long as the Ana is there with another main healing type support, they will be able to keep him alive. Now over here, he locks me into his little dome, but this backfires because, Roadhog's ult is amazing in dealing with Mauga as well. I got nano boosted. That was pretty much the Ana strat the entire time, to just nano boost me anytime he locks me in, and then from there I would just delete the guy. We would just mow him down because there's no way for him to run. He has to take all that damage from the whole hog right into his face. And from this point on, we were pretty comfortably controlling him. Now, they tried to run a Farm Mercy comp. They got an Ashe to kind of go around the Mauga, but this is what I was talking about. Like, if, like, Mauga's team isn't necessarily playing around him, like one DPS is somewhere else, another DPS is somewhere else, it's very hard for him to kind of walk in. Now, as I say that the Mauga was able to walk in, now, my team got a little bit scared over here. The fire pick caught them off guard. She kind of flew in, I believe, with Barrage, and they separated, and because of that, I kind of fell apart without my supports. I think our Zen got picked early last fight. I'm kind of watching it in real time, so, I'm not pausing or anything like that, so bear with me. So going over here, unfortunately, Ana didn't really die quickly, so, we have to wait this fight out. I was thinking of being greedy, but I was like, you know what? it's not worth it. Like, this guy will melt me. I shouldn't ego this. I should be smart about it. Maybe I can try to, you know, bring him to my Bastion and Zen and then fight him. But I'm like, okay, they're pushing. I gotta do something about it. But, you know, unfortunately, without that Ana, not much I can do about it either. For sure, Mauga can feel pretty strong, you know, when you as a tank don't have your own Ana behind you, because I only have the Zen and I have my healing, right? Once that resource goes down, like the healing resource goes down from my take a breather, I'm pretty exposed. But it's okay. You know why? Because I'm going to re-engage. Now over here, again, set up the pick pen. Didn't really pull him towards it over there. Kind of, you know, messed up. Didn't pay attention to that. But we got the Discord orb on him. And of course, well, you know, he's kind of escaping. But we were able to secure a kill on the Ashe and just kind of walk in. So I don't know why this Mauga just backed up and went on to point and left his team completely vulnerable. And from this point, I was like, okay, I mean, sure, why not? And the same thing happens again. He tries to lock me in within his cage and we just burst it down, right? And the Sombra also got rid of it with EMP, I believe. And that's the thing. So Roadhog just, they're so, like, from a fundamental interaction perspective, Roadhog just has an amazing time against the Mauga pick. Now, I will say one thing though. There will be scenarios, for example, if the Mauga over there did have an Ana and, you know, somebody else, like, let's say, 𝐒𝐿𝐄 or BAP behind him, then for sure you have to be even more careful. I'm not going to deny it. You have to be really smart and careful with how you approach Mauga. Now, I will show you the other side of the point of view from a Mauga player's perspective of what it ends up looking like when you do run into a Roadhog. And you don't necessarily need all the other counters. Even a Hog is good enough to kind of, you know, apply pressure to the Mauga. But what does that scenario look like? So over here, like, a lot of my frustration that I felt throughout my play was just this one team fight that summarizes it perfectly. That if Mauga doesn't have his team with him, his damage dealers to follow up on his pressure, and is supposed to really just babysit and get him through these fights and keeping him alive, he's going to fall apart. Now over here, when my overdrive was up, I was able to take this fight, apply a lot of pressure, build up half my ult right away. But once that kind of went down, I definitely started to feel like, okay, I have to slow down. I have to be careful. I wasn't taking any risks until I decided that I'm going to run in and slam a little bit and then get out. And, you know, they, as you can see, they were able to farm up ult off of me so quickly. And that's just one of the trade-offs of playing Mauga is you're such a big ult battery. At the same time, I got my ult too. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do it. I'm going to go in. Unfortunately, though, because my team wasn't with me to kind of follow up, my supports backed up, my tracer split, my Mave was flanking for some reason, I ended up kind of getting caught. And that's basically what happens to Mauga, where if his team doesn't play with him, he so easily falls apart, right? He really needs his team to basically hug him in order to get any value. Now, let me show you this next team fight. Over here, I get hugged by my supports, and I'm able to just, you know, open up this fight. So applying pressure to the Hog, he applies pressure to me. We get 𝐒𝐿𝐄's ult on 9. You know, my Meg gets 2 out of nowhere. I just end up helping securing the kill onto the Hog. So this was a little bit more of my team and me just trying my best to take attention off of them. So major props to the Mei, major props to the 𝐒𝐿𝐄. Don't understand why that Life Weaver ult came up though, but well, they won me that team fight. But going on, the situation kind of rinse and repeats itself, where if you are isolated on Mauga, if your team splits from you, if you're playing with flankers and they're not kind of staying by your side, because it's easier for everybody to look at one big body. Like, look at this, right? I got put into an isolated situation, but with the Roadhog ult, and he just finishes me off, right? Situations like this is where Mauga completely falls apart. So I hope I was able to teach you guys and make you understand the philosophy and, like, you know, just the general idea of how to get around Mauga. Now, does Mauga need nerfs? Yes, I think we should definitely think about increasing the overdrive cooldown and lowering the, you know, the lifesteal rate just a little bit, and maybe reduce his damage just a little bit as well, and see where he kind of goes from there. But anyways, everybody, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this type of content and want to see more, please help me out by subscribing, liking, and dropping a comment on what you think about Mauga, because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and keeps this channel going, keeps me motivated. With that being said, if you also want to help financially, super chat down below, please. If you want, you don't have to though. With that being said, I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.